la mer. On voit danser le long du golfe clair à des reflets d'argent la mer. Les reflets changent infinis. Voyez, et des étangs si grands aujourd'hui. Les a bercés le long des golfes clairs et d'une chanson d'amour là-bas a bercé mon cœur pour la vie.
Wales did it on Saturday. Now the challenge for England is to follow suit. Stade de Nice on the French Riviera stages the last of the round of 16 ties. Iceland stand between England and a place in the Euro quarter-finals. England have ended up in the tougher half of the draw, but still Roy Hodgson's side will be expected to beat an Iceland team playing in their first major tournament.
England's French adventure has been somewhat familiar. Youthful exuberance clamouring a new hope.
Cruel blow for England.
A new hype.
They need to go from somewhere.
With a slight hitch.
It's the business end of the tournament and we have to be more ruthless.
However, England arrive in Nice undefeated, armed with moments which have teased the imagination, dominant. All that's needed is that magic, that je ne sais quoi. And don't be fooled by Iceland. The smallest nation here arrived with the biggest hearts. Be brave. Keep the story rolling.
Roy Hodgson has made another 6 changes to the team that started against Slovakia a week ago. Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane are but not winning tonight. Well, that could have major repercussions. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff in Nice and Jackie Oatley's had access to the England dressing room.
Well, this is where the England manager Roy Hodgson will offer his final words of motivation and inspiration ahead of a game he knows his side are fully expected to win. The captain, Wayne Rooney, is due to equal David Beckham's England record for an outfield player tonight of 115 caps. And no doubt Rooney will offer some words of advice and try to calm the nerves of some of the England players who've not been in this situation before. It could well be nervy tonight. It's bound to be nervy. It's England, for goodness sake, and a knockout match. But an early goal wouldn't half help matters.
But thinking only positive thoughts here in Paris. Lee Dixon, Ian Wright and Peter Crouch. Let's check on the England team first before we hear from the guys. Joe Hart in goal, of course, and the Tottenham fullbacks are restored to play alongside Cahill and Smalling. Dele Alli and Wayne Rooney back in midfield alongside Eric Dyer. And up front, Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane are part of a 3-man attack. Interestingly, just one change from the team which started the whole tournament against Russia. That is Sturridge for Lallana. Here we go then. England aren't very good at knockout football, let's be honest. So how are you, Mr. Wright?
Well, I'm very nervous, like Jackie said. You know, this is normally our checkout time, and we're coming up against an Icelandic side who are galvanised. But you know, I mean, there's 330,000 people in their country wanting them to do well. They've got here for me on good play. They qualified second. They would have qualified in the old format if it was 16 teams still going through. And they've got a manager that's never lost to us. You know, so, you know, of course you're nervous because I'm always nervous. So I can't even sit still in the chair. But we should be positive with the 3 games we've had. We could have scored more goals, of course. But if we're going into this game against Iceland, which I am confident that we'll beat them, we should be going in there with confidence. And had we nicked a couple more chances in the games, we would be going into this game with a lot more confidence. But it is knockout.
Yeah, it's knockout.
And that's where we normally check it.
Yeah. What do you think, Peter? I mean, look, what Iceland done is remarkable, so we don't want to be patronising.
Absolutely.
But this is England against Iceland. England have got 50 million people. Iceland got 325,000 people.
Yeah.
There should not be any excuse, should there?
I think we're going to play. It's going to be a similar game to Slovakia. They're going to sit back and be very, very difficult to break down. I think that's why maybe he's picked Kane ahead of Vardy, just in the fact that there won't be any space behind to run. I think Kane, he's clinical, he's a finisher, and I think when given a chance, he will stick it away. So yeah, it's going to be nervy. I'm with Righty on that one. I'm going to be nervous, but
the national holiday's given out. They beat England, this Icelandic team, on this unbelievable journey they're on. It's like they get national holidays.
Yeah,
they must be getting knighted and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous. I'm not going to be nervous tonight. I think we'll beat them quite easily. Although they do cause teams problems with the way they play. They play a 4-4-2, really solid. We've seen them very strong, very fit. Fitness-wise, they're in a tournament now. It's completely different than playing for your club, etc. So that, I think we've got to utilise the fact that we've got the better players skill-wise. Now, the team that he's picked, with Lallana not being in, I think he's a bit unlucky not to be in, to be honest with you. I think he was the one for me that has shone in a few of the games, and certainly a game where everybody gets behind the ball and put 2 banks of 4. Is that fit for Sterling? Is he the one that's going to go through with pace? Where's he going to run to? Because if they play deep, so I think Lallana coming off the sides and just playing little 1-2s around the box would have been a better option. But
it's quite a vote of confidence in Sterling, then, isn't it? Given his form in the last few months.
Absolutely. And so the pressure's back on him even more because everybody's expecting a big game from him.
Yeah, I think the first few games, obviously, with Sterling, I think you could see that he was playing with a little bit of fear, And I think we all know a Sterling playing without fear is a top player and he can unlock defences. But I think he was struggling with a little bit of confidence. And it's a big thing, but I think the manager must have seen something in training.
He's got to use it. He's got to use it and use the positive energy out of it that the manager has seen fit to put him into a team where I'm sure a lot of people back home will be saying, why is he in? He has got to now to use that in his favour and come out and put in a massive performance for us because we need it from him.
Yep. And you mentioned it interestingly actually about the Icelandic team. It's the same team 4 games in a row now. We've seen it a little bit actually, the ability to change things from the bench. Were that to happen, England clearly have much more firepower there.
Yeah, they have. I mean, you look at both sets of players and the bench and everything. They're 34th in the world, which surprised me when I looked at it. I thought, that's not too bad. We're 11th, so there's not, in that respect, there's not a massive gap. But you look at the teams and you say, this again. But how many times have we said this is a game we should win quite easily?
OK, let's head back to the Stade de Nice and hear from the former England manager Glenn Hoddle, who's with Jackie Oatley.
Well, Mark, it's been a scorching hot day here on the French Riviera, and I think the England fans have enjoyed themselves, but you never know, there are only a 4,400 official allocation of England supporters here tonight, a 2,500 supposedly from Iceland, but there are a heck of a lot more who got tickets, and most surprisingly of all, there are 1,500 tickets still available this morning. Hopefully they've been snapped up because it's not the biggest of arenas. But in terms of the team news, Glenn, what are your thoughts? We'll talk about Sturridge and Sterling in a moment, but generally about those 6 changes.
I think it's a real positive change. It wasn't a surprise to see the fullbacks come in, Rose and Walker. I think that was always going to happen. Roy had given them a good rest, but it's an offensive team, and we're going to need to be patient and we're going to need to get some width in our side to break this Icelandic side down. They're a very, very solid team and they'll believe that they can get a result here. But we've got offensive players. It looks like, Rooney and Dele Alli from midfield. They're going to get themselves in and around that penalty box, I hope, and not only rely on Kane to be the box threat. So offensive, looking good. I think we'll have loads of possession, and obviously an early goal would be helpful tonight. It really would, Jackie, because we haven't had a team that have come and tried to play an open game of football against us. And I think that's where we could be at our very, very best.
Talk about early goal, it's something that England didn't get in the group stages, not until well into the second half. And the likes of Germany and Wales did against Slovakia, which England didn't. And so the use of width as well, you referred to. How important are Sturridge and Sterling going to be, and what specifically do they need to do?
Well, that's why I think Roy's gone with Sterling. Sterling needs to start the game really well, and I'd like to see you know, the movement is got to be good tonight. It's got to be a little bit better from width. So for me, Sturridge and Sterling have got to start really wide, get themselves, stretch the pitch, stretch this Icelandic side who want to play in 2 banks of 4, and then get our fullbacks engaging with that movement. So the wingers and the wide men and the 2 fullbacks have really got to time their runs together to get round the back. If we don't get round the back, it's going to be very difficult to go through the middle. It really is.
Is there a concern they could be anxious if they don't get the early goal?
I don't think anxious. We've got to be patient, but I've got a sneaky feeling there's going to be an early goal. We've got to deal with their set plays, Jackie. They're a set play team. It's almost like a team that are playing back in the 70s in England. So they're a danger, but we've got to deal with that.
Cutting edge, width and an early goal would indeed be lovely.
And authors, but they're warriors as well, and this is the biggest game in their history. And Roy Hodgson leads England into only his 2nd knockout tie at this, his 3rd tournament as manager. He believes these Euros offer England their best chance of success, and we'll hear from him next. There's an England fan full of, but the Icelandic fans will have something to say about that, that's for sure. Well, Iceland have qualified for the knockout stages at their first major tournament. That's some feat, and here are a few other things you may not know about them. Well, to be honest, there's little pressure on Iceland. All the expectation is heaped on England and their manager, Roy Hodgson, who retains the same enthusiasm he had on his appointment 4 years ago, as Gabriel Clark reports.
My reason for being really always is, you know, the field of play, the players, the matches. Football does have the knack of knocking your enthusiasm.
I'll get some more by the day.
But I've been very lucky, it hasn't happened to me.
Fine, good. With the quality at the moment, we'll be better than this.
4 years after taking the job, Roy Hodgson retains that infectious hunger and honesty.
I'd have been happy if we'd have won the group.
Only now he faces the scenario that confronts every England manager in the end. Win or bust.
What do you hope in your 4 years you've brought to the job?
I think you've got to divide it into 2 periods, really. I think the first 2 years were with a very different group of players.
We've got to go forward.
But I think since Brazil, I think a lot of changes have been made. I think we really have rejuvenated the team. Today we have a much more dynamic team, and the one thing we lack, I suppose, is experience, but that can come very, very quickly.
Has the job been all you expected? Having had the talk of the impossible job?
It's been a lot better, I must say. You know, I expected more, managing individuals and massaging egos, perhaps, and it hasn't been like that at all.
What's going on here?
Impossible job? Well, it will be that, I'm afraid, until such time as England win a major tournament again. But I believe that we're on the way with this group of players to building a team which could win a major tournament, and that's something which gives me great pleasure.
Why not now, though? Is this potentially your best chance at winning a tournament?
Absolutely. I would agree with that. I think perhaps it is. I've said from the start that we are not fearful. Be brave, be bold, try things, don't be cowed in any way by the occasion. So if we can keep that going, I don't see any reason why we can not win this tournament. That's our aim, is to win this tournament. I'm not saying that we can only win in the future. This team could win at any time.
Good. Well done.
A new bold Roy Hodgson has emerged in France, one prepared to make sweeping team changes before the group had even been decided. Too much tinkering, said some. But tonight in Nice for Hodgson, there's no point holding back.
For your sake, is the quarter-finals the bare minimum?
Well, I think I'll have to let other people decide that. I don't really want to get involved in that discussion. I am prepared to work with this team for as long as the FA want me to. And if they don't, then I shall wish them and these players all the best. And there's no doubt that this is a good bunch of footballers.
I get the sense that if it ended for you now, you would feel your mission was incomplete.
I think this team has obviously got potential because they're young. But I agree with you. Our job is to try and make certain they do it now.
Do you know the last time England won a knockout match?
It's not in my time, that's for sure. So
going back to 2006, Roy, 10 years.
Is it? Yeah.
So it's long overdue.
It's about time, but I'm confident we're in the now, we're not in the future. We believe in ourselves. It's just about winning, and that's what we've got to do.
The way the tournament's gone, and saying we could do better in front of goal, we could have put our chances away. The 3 games that he played in the knockout stages were difficult ones, in as much as everyone was sort of sitting back. And I think get this one out of the way, and then I think quarter-final against France, with Rami out, Mangala possibly playing, you know, I don't think we should be fearful of that, because France will come out and play. And I think a team that comes out and plays against us, we've got certainly the ammunition to hurt France. So I think we get to that game, get this one out of the way. I keep saying that, because this one could be a bit difficult. But I think we win tonight, and then France, I think, why not?
OK, before we get there, just talk us through the good Raheem Sterling, the positive Raheem Sterling, the reason why he's been picked tonight.
Well, whenever I look at players, certainly wingers, if you call him a winger, when he plays out wide, I think I always look at him and say, what do I fear about him? And certainly his pace stands out. We've seen him when he's running at defenders. I think that's the bit that scares me, looking at him. So what don't I want him to do? I've got to then work out how I play against him. Do I go tight? And I would be working him all the time. What does he want to do? And I think when he's at his best, he causes problems for defenders about whether they go tight to him. Look at him here. He just gets the ball, runs at players. He commits players. When he does that, he shoots from distance as well. When he does that, I think he's one of the... That's why he's £49 million, or whatever the fee was. He's him. And Crouchy, when you look at him now, he's a sort of shadow of his former self, isn't he?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of him and obviously played against him when he was at Liverpool. And to me, I actually spoke to a few boys in the dressing room at that time, and they're saying he's the best young player that they've seen for a long, long time, you know. And we really thought he was going to kick on and be, you know, a mainstay in this England team. And I think he still will be. I think he's just suffering with a little bit of lack of confidence.
So what would the message be to him tonight? The first time you get it, run at your fullback.
Absolutely.
Is that the first thing you do? Run at your fullback.
That's what we need from him, because like the gaffer was saying about Adam Lallana, he's cute in there. He'll come in and he'll play little 1-2s. We want Raheem to be much more direct, going at people, committing people, getting them running back towards their own goal.
That's not necessarily, you know, I slightly disagree with the fact that the first thing you do, run it. It might not be on to do that. And then if he loses a ball because the fullback clatters him and he makes the wrong decision, make the right decision first. So get into the game by making good, early, right decision. And that normally, the first thing that comes into your head is the right pass. If he runs at the defender and it's not on and he loses the ball, as I said, then his confidence will go back. So he's got to make the first 5 minutes of the game, make good decisions about passing and
positive
running.
decisions.
Yep. OK, what about Sturridge then? We all know how talented he is.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's interesting, he's the one change on the start of the championship, as we said, against Russia. A lot of faith in him this season.
Yeah, well, and rightly so, because I still believe that he is the best striker in the squad when he's on his game for a start. And the way he came on against Wales is what you want from him. But
and you would be shouting like that, wouldn't you?
Everybody would be, because look at the space in front of him. You've got a defender you can commit. You've got a man out on your outside. Right, go at him at pace. Look, we don't want that. We can't have that today. You know, and then look, he's running to play. And then
you can't have that slow.
He's a key player to unlock. You know, we all know that Iceland is sit back. It's difficult to break down, as we found in Slovakia. Very difficult for us to break down. I think him and Rooney. And Rooney's the one who can play a pass, who can pick a pass. I think Sturridge is the person who can unlock a defence from nothing, you know, and I think they're going to be so important to that.
And you've got to play at a tempo, haven't you, when you've got against a mass defence? Because sometimes, almost subconsciously, because they're not really challenging you for the ball in some areas, you play too slowly, don't you? You hang on to it for too long.
Like Right, he says, you know, it's quite easy. You can use it as a keep ball session. You can just keep moving the ball. You're not unlocking the defence at all, you know. We do have to play with a high tempo, and that's how we're going to score and win this game.
If you do have more than 2 or 3 touches on the ball, make no mistake, this team will be all over you like a bad rash, because that's what they want you to do.
Exactly what
they want you to have 2 or 3 touches, get really close to you and smother you and hit you on the break.
A couple of names that people recognise from the Iceland team, of course. Sigurdsson, of course, of Swansea in particular, fabulous from set pieces. Gunnarsson, the long throw we're going to see as well. Just want to point out that not too many international goalkeepers, Hal Dawson, have directed the music video at their Eurovision entry.
Oh.
There we go, yeah.
Unbelievable.
He's got a hinterland, hasn't he?
Well, that's a nice little career change.
It is, isn't it? Exactly. And the assistant manager's also a dentist as well. You know, this is what the story is. Right, the set piece. This is a serious threat.
It is a serious threat because it's not that hard to win a throw-in. And when you've got Gunnarsson in your team, good name, Gunnarsson, see what I did there? He can throw it 35 yards. Watch this. He throws it into the danger area, and then they get men round the ball. Now that anywhere near the goal, the penalty area, is a decent weapon, and they set up pretty much round the box, same two targets for the thrower. They block it in from the edge of the box, and then you get 1, 2, 3 running in for the flicks, and they do it very, very well. It comes in with pace, little flick on, just goes over the bar, and this is the goal they scored. Look, there's the 2 targets again, one on the edge of the box. They block it in from the side. And then 1, 2, 3 runners on the back. You know what's coming. You know exactly about it, Crouchy, because he played in
Rory Delap.
I was just going to say he's good, but he's no Rory Delap. Rory used to come in flat.
And they haven't got Crouchy to be fair.
But you've seen the fear in some defenders' eyes, and you've seen defenders deliberately give away a corner rather than a throw-in.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it was unbelievable at times. You know, you could see in defenders and goalkeepers' eyes, they were so scared they were giving away corners rather than throw-ins. You know, I don't think it's quite that standard.
But we'll see. OK, England's record in knockout ties at the Euros and the World Cup is less than impressive. Just 6 wins in 17 previous major tournaments since 1966.
The first meeting then between England and 2-0! And here's Tottenham's Gary Stevens. And here's Lineker onside, 3-0. England confirmed their place in the last 8. Chip in there. And score! England are in the quarter-finals. A marvellous moment for English football. Gary Lineker. 3-2. The final whistle. England are in the semi-finals of the 1990 World Cup. And England go into the semi-finals. Swept in by Beckham and Ferdinand arrives. It's in. Sinclair rolled into Buck. It's come for Owen. It's 2-0. And here's Emil Heskey. England 3, Denmark 0. It's not even half time. Fronts the misses. And in front of the nation. David Beckham. Teach. The question can be asked, how much further this time?
It's not a great record, is it? And in the European Championship, it's 1 knockout win, and that was actually a draw against Spain on penalties. You've been in the dressing rooms to play, so you played in that Ecuador game. Why is it, Peter? You were playing with people who'd won everything or went on to win everything. What's the psychology?
Yeah, that's all it is psychology. You know that they're going to set up, they're going to be defensive. You know, there's been so many nervy games. I've been involved Trinidad, Ecuador, Algeria. You know, these games, you just expected to win them. There's another one tonight. Iceland, obviously, you know, that's why we're all so nervous, because we know the history of England at major tournaments, and we do find it so difficult to beat teams that...
But you're playing with people who'd won it all in your team. Gerrard, Beckham, Lampard, you know, John Terry, all of them as well.
Exactly right.
Multiple winners. Why can... is there no ability to translate that success into a knockout game for England?
It's been, yes, like you say. That's why I think this team's slightly different. You know, in fact, we had young players that maybe are playing in their first tournament. You know, and I think that the weight of expectation maybe in 2006 was. That was the best team I think we've had for a long, long time. And I think that team probably should have won something. And I think most of the nation expected us to go out in 2006 and win the World Cup. And I think that weighed us down. And I think this team hasn't got that. And I think that's why, you know, we've got a real chance tonight to go out there.
Well, we've said it before, sometimes you're better not to have any previous scars.
Yeah. Yeah, that
doesn't seem to, you know, because the other way doesn't seem to have worked for England, does it?
No, and you know, you asked the question about why, and if anybody knew why, the England manager would go out and sort it out, and you know, they're always trying to find out what the reason is. It can't surely because we're a weak-minded nation and we're rubbish footballers, because that's not true. There's something in there that we can't put our finger on what it is. Otherwise, it would get sorted. If something's broken, you fix it. And that record that we've got of only winning those games since '66 it's astonishing, really, with the amount of talent that we've had at our vote.
Because we saw Germany last night. They're playing Slovakia. They knew they were going to win. They beat them out of sight. You know, there's no problem there, is there? You know, whereas the English approach just seems to be full of nerves.
Yeah, it is. But Germany is not full of nerves because they know what they do when they do get to the tournament. You know, let's see what they're like when they come up against Italy. You know what I mean? They're bogey team. You know, because that's a whole different story. But we do, for some reason, we do have this massive amount of pressure. And teams, they want to beat England. They want to play against Gerrard and Lampard and Rooney and stop them. That's what this Icelandic team will want to do tonight. And that kind of pressure, they'll put it on the guys, and then the guys will have to perform. If they don't, they know the longer it goes, the more pressure they're going to be under.
I think we put ourselves in the bracket of the Frances, the Italys, the Spains. You know, we put ourselves in that bracket, and we look at them. They've won things. You know, they've all won things recently, and it's been so long before we've won anything. And I think that plays on our mind. And
Lothar Matthäus said when we beat him, he said, "Believe in yourselves. Believe in." He was telling us in the studio, "Believe in yourself."
Well, maybe this evening is where this team start to believe in themselves. Plenty more to come from Nice, England, with a quarter beating Iceland on the French Riviera this evening. And we'll have more from Nice when we return. Plus, the best of the action from Italy against Spain. They met in the last 16 at the Stade de France earlier today.
La mer pour la vie.
The 8th and final quarter-final place at the Euros will be filled by England or Iceland. Earlier today, Italy met Spain here in Paris for the right to meet Germany in the quarter-finals. Commentary from Andy Townsend and Sam Matterface.
In the Stade de France by 2-0.
Well, those are the threatening skylines here in Paris this evening, but the Italians will be enjoying themselves thoroughly. Spain have just suffered their first defeat in the Euros since 2004, so the quarter-final draw almost there, and the winners of Poland against Portugal will play the winners of Wales against Belgium in the semi-finals. So France against England or Iceland in the quarter-final, and Germany against Italy in the other quarter-final. A little bit of a surprise. I mean, not from the game we saw. It was all Italy, but maybe at the start of the game we would have fancied Spain, wouldn't we?
I think that the Italians would have seen Croatia against them, really put them under pressure right from the off, even though Spain scored early in the Croatia game, and just went at them and just was relentlessly going at them. David De Gea, we saw it. He saved them. I do believe it was. He was definitely at fault for the goal, but it could have been so much more.
He just went absolutely. I can't wait for him to link up with Mourinho on the sideline in the Premier League. There'll be fireworks there. But they did. Spain were really, really pushed out of the way, and Italy just came steaming through. I thought they were brilliant.
Brilliant.
I love it.
Might be then Del Bosque's been a brilliant manager, has won everything. He may feel it's time for somebody else. Now, we found the Germany weakness last night, didn't we, with Lothar Matthäus?
Yeah.
They don't like playing Italy.
Absolutely.
Having a look at their record, Germany, they have got a big problem. Look down the bottom there, Peter. They've never beaten them in a major tournament. Germany have never beaten Italy.
Yeah, that is interesting.
You wouldn't have guessed that, would you?
I wouldn't have guessed that. But just look at the games they've played.
Yeah.
Their semis, finals, semis.
Absolutely. All when it matters. So we know the Italians will be saying, no problem. Particularly the way that they've dealt with Spain today.
Italy set up so well today, and obviously the manager's got them playing fantastically well. We all thought that Spain would have all the possession and Italy would soak it up and maybe hit them on the break, but they just dominated completely, and I thought they were much the better side.
Yeah, Italy, a very good day for them. Let's head back to Nice now and hear again from Glenn Hoddle and Jackie Oatley.
Well, Mark, the England supporters all around us here, we've been giving Glenn quite a lot of love, actually, possibly because they're Spurs fans, are hoping it's going to be a nice straightforward passage for England tonight against Iceland, but it doesn't always tend to be, especially the fact that England have never won a Euro knockout match away from home. It's extraordinary. Why do you think that is?
It is amazing, isn't it? You know, there's a few penalties in there as well we've lost, by the way. It's not always just 90 minutes of football, but yes, it's a record we've got to improve. I don't think we'll get the chance tonight to improve it, Jackie. I think that we'll beat Iceland in 90 minutes. I really do. I think it's going to be a good night. But it's something that we've definitely got to improve on. It's a psychological thing. The last thing that the boys would have been, talking about in that dressing room would be that record. That's for another day. But I think it's something that, if it's a poor record in history, there's no better way than changing it today. And winning this one and maybe going on and beating France in the quarters, that would be fantastic. But let's get this one done first.
Yeah, you're nice and confident. You mentioned earlier about set pieces, and that's where Iceland can be a real threat. So there is a chance, of course, that it could go to extra time and possibly the dreaded penalties. Extraordinary to think that England have lost 6 of their last 7 penalty shootouts. There must be some sort of psychology in there. What is it?
Yeah, I think there is. I think there's some nations, I know German players, that they embrace penalties. They enjoy taking the penalty shootouts. Absolutely. That's their mentality. And they're good at them. So that every time they win a penalty shootout, they get stronger and stronger. Unfortunately for us and the Dutch, they've got good technical players. Even Messi yesterday, he's missed his penalty in the shootout. So at the end of the day, it's always a pressurised scenario. But you know what? If we were to go to penalties tonight and we actually won by penalties, which I don't think we will, it would be a really big step, a positive step to actually get improving on them, because once you start believing that you're okay and you win one, you can take it on, it snowballs from there. So if it does go to penalties and we win it, I'm not too worried.
Nice and positive. Thank you, Glenn. Let's hope it doesn't go to penalties. Let's hope also that the English are celebrating down by the promenade here in Nice tonight, because it is called the Promenade des Anglais.
It's a sign, everybody. So many go to the French Riviera for their holidays, but tonight they and the Icelandic fans.
Well, England have reverted to the team that played Russia in the opening game with one change, Daniel Sturridge for Adam Lallana. So Raheem Sterling, Roy, gets his chance again. It's not always been easy for him here, but what's your thinking? Why is he the right choice tonight?
We need width in our team tonight, I think, playing against Iceland. They're a very, very compact team. They play very grouped up in the middle of the field, so we're anxious to get 2 players on the field in the wide areas who can beat a man and stretch the opposing defence. And Raheem, we think, is the right man to do that. He played very well against Russia, so if he can repeat that performance, we'll be very happy this evening.
You talk about playing a tight defence. The stakes are very high tonight as well. A lot of players, this is their first knockout game with England. So what do you emphasise then? The key things you emphasise tonight?
Well, I've spoken about one of them already. When we're attacking, we want width in our play. We want to make certain that we really stretch their defence as best as we can, and that we give their fullback something to think about. We want to move the ball quickly, which is what we've been trying to do in all the 3 matches, but we certainly want to continue with that in our attacking play, and we want to make certain that we stop their counter-attacks and sustain any pressure we have when we're attacking. It's things we've been trying to do basically in the other games as well, but in this one maybe we've focused a bit more on width than we have, or emphasised width more than we have done in the other games.
And how do you feel about it overall? A lot at stake.
when you get to the last 16 in knockout tournaments, there's always a lot at stake. We've just seen Spain knocked out by Italy. We saw Ireland give France a very good game yesterday. We know we're in for a difficult match because the opponents have shown so far what they can do and how difficult they are to break down, but we're ready for it, and we think we've got the capabilities and the ability to win the game. So now it's a question of just waiting for the referee's whistle and trying to do it.
Good luck, Roy.
Thank you very much.
Well, he's the manager paid to make those decisions. Does Lallana not offer as much then in the wide areas as Sterling?
Well, there's no doubt he's a different type of player. I just hope there's space for Sterling to make his speedy runs into. I think Lallana offers you something different, the way he comes off and he links the forwards up. I think he likes to get little 1-2s around the box. I think there'll be a lot of that. I think they'll just go 4-4 in front of the back, the 18-yard line, and it's how we thread through them and go round the edge. I can understand going round the sides, but if it's just slow build-up, he's not going to get round the sides for me.
I think that, Dick, with Sterling, he wants that, like what we saw Draxler do the other day. Get one-on-one, beat a man and create something like that, because I think it's going to take somebody actually taking a player out of a game, and maybe he sees Sterling doing that more than he does Lallana, because yes, Lallana does those nice moves, 1-2s, but I think Sterling can take a man out of the game if he's confident.
I just felt in the first game, I thought Lallana was certainly our best player in the first half, and I felt that he was drifting inside into the middle of the pitch, and that allowed the fullbacks. Kyle Walker was probably our best player in that game, and I think the fact that Lallana was drifting just into the middle, into those pockets just behind the forwards, and I thought that gave Kyle Walker and Rose the other side maybe to get forward and get crosses in, and I think that we're going to need them. I'm hoping that our fullbacks will play like wingers today, because hopefully we're not going to need them defensively, and hopefully they'll just play right up there.
Interesting looking at some of the teams who have squeezed through. Let's be honest, Hungary and Slovakia, they've been well beaten in the next stage. The fact that they played the same team for the 4th game running, we saw how much it took out of the Republic of Ireland. I know they had a short turn.